You're watching Fugitive Red Eye, and welcome to another anime review. Today I'll be reviewing the one-episode OVA, Judge. Now, Judge is something I bought mostly on a blind buy. It was like $2 to $5 at a thrift store or a pawn shop or something of that nature. I can't remember exactly where I got it, but I know it was cheap in either like a bargain bin or like a clearance section at like FYE or something. It was really cheap. Like I said, it was like $2, maybe $5 max. And before that, it was something I hadn't heard of. It was a 1991 OVA, and I just watched it just now, finally, so I'm going to review it. Now, Judge is the story of a seemingly wimpy protagonist, although he does have a girlfriend, and he does get some, so he's obviously not that pathetic, right? But he is shown to be somewhat of a nerdy, wimpy type at the workplace. Turns out that this wimpy guy is actually a supernatural judge who judges humans for their crimes, and his clients, in a sense, are the dead, who have him go and get justice for them. There's also a defense attorney that goes in the court of darkness. So they're the judge. He's the judge of darkness, and then there's the defense attorney of darkness. And the two of them are obviously at odds with each other, and Judge himself is seen as more of a prosecutor in the later part of the episode, and they have to summon something called the Court of 10 Kings, involving several different kings of the underworld, one of which being Enma, who's a pretty recurring thing in anime. He's usually the king of the underworld. I think that must be some sort of thing in Eastern mythology that is based on. You see it all the time. It's actually mentioned in the Devilman manga at one point. Not to mention Enma being pretty crucial in the Doraemon Enma-kun series, with Enma the Great being Enma the King of Hell, and then the main character, Doraemon Enma-kun, being his nephew. But Judge itself, again, it's pretty short. It's only like 50 minutes, so just under an hour. It calls it a movie on the DVD set I got, which is released by US Manga Corps, who were owned by Central Park Media, the same company that owned Anime 18. I watched it subbed. The DVD of this actually contained both the sub and the dub, which is always hit or miss with Central Park Media. Sometimes they'll have both, sometimes they'll have both language tracks, but no subtitles. It really just depends. You see him go, and at the beginning of the episode, you see him go after this guy who did embezzlement, and also was going to murder his girlfriend, but instead, she killed herself after destroying all the evidence of the embezzlement because she did the embezzlement for him. And then later they go after this guy with these really freakishly large eyes who got his friend murdered in South America to cover up his crimes, and to also take his position because he was jealous of it. It's a really interesting concept. I think it's really interesting that they had the concept of a trial, as well as just the judge himself. At the beginning, you think it's going to be this Punisher type thing, which in a way it kind of is. He's going after the people who escape justice. There's also the defense attorney, which, again, makes it pretty interesting. Overall, very interesting concept. It's very short, obviously, so there's not a whole lot to go off of. For what it was short, sweet, and to the point, and I did enjoy it. That said, I do wish there was more. If there was more story and they developed the concept more, I do think that would have made it much better and more interesting. But nevertheless, it was a fun little one-off, and I enjoyed my time. So, interesting blind buy, had a lot of fun with it, and that's really all I have to say about Judge. This has been Fugitive Red Eye. Have a good one. Toodles.